Hey guys, Dadtries, and this is Helldivers 2. So, I waited on this one. Obviously, my video's a little bit delayed. I really was very weary of it just because there was so much hype on it. There was a lot of attention from the big game outlets, the big game reviewers, so like the IGN and things like that. And a lot of times I'm just deeply saddened when I finally come around to playing a game that the internet says is so great, and I come to it and it's just crap. But I had some really good friends who I trust a lot, and their opinions on games matter a lot to me, and they said it was good. So I took the plunge a little while ago, and the biggest reason why my video for this is so delayed is because I've been playing it, and I've been playing it a lot. And by my version of playing a lot is not the same as others' version of a lot. So, I mean, at the time of recording, I have 22 hours into this beautiful, chaos-filled game. So let's talk about a little bit about what Helldivers 2 is. It's co-op only, so your only adversary is technically some guy named Joel, who is kind of playing Dungeon Master over the current two factions in the game. Currently, there are the Terminids, which are kind of like the Starship Troopers bugs, and the Automatons. And the Automatons are kind of Skynet-esque robots that are trying to kill you. At the surface, at its core, it is a third-person shooter, so it's looking over your shoulder the whole time. You can aim down sights and then toggle the ability to actually look down your sights and shoot the bugs. And that's actually very well done. The one issue I have with that is there is a setting in the game that allows you to change the default view of a weapon when you aim down sights, so you can either have that over the shoulder view or you can ADS and look through the actual crosshairs on the weapon. And there's a setting to retain that, but mine doesn't seem persistent through games. So every time I start a new game, I have to change the way that I look down sights on my specific guns, even though there's a per weapon setting. So maybe that's something that's by design. I'm not sure. Maybe it's broken. It persists throughout the game, but as soon as the game is over, I have to change the way that the guns default when I aim down sights. So that's something that's a little bit annoying, but definitely not a deal breaker. Past that, the way the game works, there is a whole galaxy that's kind of laid out. Right now, you can tell that there's obviously one side for the bugs, one side for the automatons, and there's two other sides that are left unpopulated. So there's speculations that the third faction that's in the original game should be coming out soon, and then the possibility of a fourth faction as well just makes sense. So those are some things that are probably coming. They have been doing pretty regular updates to the game, and by they, I mean Arrowhead Game Studios. So after you dive into your mission, and by dive in, I mean you launch yourself into a hell pod and splat on the ground, pop up, come out of it, and you pretty much just start shooting from there. You're going to have some objectives to do. You complete the objectives, and then you extract. The better you do, the more money you get. There's a few different kinds of currencies in the game. There is super credits, which is a premium currency that you can spend actual money on. So yes, there is a pay-to-win element, but really, it's not PvP, so it's really not that big of a deal. Like if you want to spend an extra $20 on it, go ahead. It doesn't bother me any. The other way is you unlock things a little slower, but you do so by collecting medals and then spending your medals in one of the various store categories. And one of those store categories being specifically for the super currencies, which you can purchase with the free currency that you get just by playing the game. So you can eventually unlock all of those things just by playing the game, which is pretty cool. So don't feel like you need to spend any more money than you have to, even though your friends probably are going to, because that's one thing that I wish the game had a little bit more of, was some more weapons. I am at this point like level 13, and I pretty much have used the base pump action shotgun since I've been playing the game, and it's done really well. I really haven't had much of a reason to go away from it, so I'm going to keep using it. I haven't found much better than it. Maybe that's saying something about my playstyle, and maybe I should look into something else, but for right now, the shotgun's doing great. When you do finish your missions, you get paid out in credits, and those credits you can use to unlock new stratagems. Now, stratagems are the thing that make the game a whole bunch of fun, and I think this is what really separates the game from Starship Troopers Extermination, which is a pretty good game, but this is better. So the stratagems range from all different kinds of things. You can have turrets that come down. They're autocannons. They'll shoot bugs for you automatically. There's turrets that you can man. There's cluster bombs. There's napalm. There's giant 500 kilogram bombs. And those things you have to actually hit arrow keys. Or a friend of mine turned me on to this program called Voice Attack with the Helldivers profile, where you just hit your voice attack command input key, say the stratagem you want to use, and it punches the arrow keys for you, and you get the orb in your hand, and you just toss it. So I have sufficiently been able to team kill my friends with my Eagle cluster bombs using that pretty consistently. So A+, that's another little recommendation, little tip from my friend Avman, that if you want to play and be able to have full control and never take your hands off your keyboard and mouse to actually have to punch in the arrow keys for the stratagem, go check out Voice Attack. That's on Steam as well. I want to say it's $13, and you just got to run it as administrator. And then there's a profile out there. I'm sure you can find a profile to download. And it's a game changer. It really is. You can fire off stratagems like it's nobody's business. And it also forces you to communicate what you're doing. So my friends know when they're about to die, at least. Because I am about to drop from orbit a 380 millimeter bomb on their head. But, that's just the price you pay for democracy. Gunplay is obviously the biggest part of the game, and the best part of the game, which is probably why the game has been so successful, is that the gunplay feels really good. You're blowing off limbs off of the Terminids. The automatons explode when you shoot them. I mean, you'll blow limbs off of them as well. You hit them in the glowy bits and they explode. It's really good. They do not feel like bullet sponges. You don't feel like you're out there playing the Division and you've dumped 14 magazines into the same enemy, but it's still coming. If you shoot the bugs in the right place, even the armored ones, every weapon is very effective. So the gunplay is just very well done, and I think that's key to this game's success, is how good they did with the gunplay. So now the downsides. And really for me, the biggest downside is, obviously, there's no way to pause this. You're playing online with your friends. Thankfully for me, I have really good friends, and they don't mind if I get up in the middle and walk away or something. They are even attentive enough as to where, if I say, hey, I've got to go check on a kid, or, someone's doing this, I've got to jump for a second. Chances are, I'm just going to stand there. Chances are I'm going to die. I'm going to get eaten by bugs or blown up by the robots. And they'll just wait to drop the reinforcement until I get back and carry me the rest of the way. So I'm a bit of a burden, I think, sometimes to them, but I make up for it with comic relief, I guess. I don't know. Why do you guys let me keep playing with you? Seriously. So this is definitely one for after the kids go to bed. My son thoroughly enjoys this game. He actively sneaks out of bed so that he can come and stand over my shoulder at 9:30 and watch me play with my friends. He really likes it, and I only know he's there when he can't contain himself any longer, and he goes, "Oh, you got him!" And then I turn around and realize he's been watching for the last half hour and probably heard me say some things that really are going to confuse and scar him for the next 10 to 15 years. But, it's good for him, I guess. And I don't know what everyone's stance is on violent video games and kids and what age they should see them and start playing it. But he's watching me blow up robots and bugs. I'm not too worried about that. The reason I say you should wait till after the kids go to bed for this one is because you need 30 to 45 minutes of uninterrupted time to be able to get through some of these missions. And if the bugs are steamrolling you, it might take longer than that. I think most of the missions max out around 45 minutes. So if you're getting steamrolled and you can't finish your objectives, you're in for it for 45 minutes, whether you like it or not. And, those are some pretty long play sessions. So keep that in mind when you're planning on either purchasing this game or just playing the game in general. You have to really make sure you've got some time set aside that you won't be interrupted, or you'll just end up bringing your team down. And one last note about the game, I did install and play it on my Steam Deck, and it actually ran okay. I got about 30 frames consistently on it, and I did have to change the graphic settings. I had to lower them all the way down, and going from ultra settings. Yeah, Dad got a new PC, so Dad's running things on ultra now. Pretty excited about that. So going from that to the Steam Deck low settings, there's a lot of things I noticed that quality-wise are missing on low settings, obviously, and so it absolutely looks degraded on the Steam Deck, but it does run. So if you want to take the Steam Deck with you when you're traveling or whatever, add Helldivers to your list. As long as you've got a network connection, go for it. Downside is you pretty much need to be attached to an outlet, because it drained about 30% of my battery in 35 minutes. So keep that in mind as well. And that's it for Helldivers 2. It's a great game. It's a lot of fun. We laugh hysterically playing this one. It's one of the few games that I get team killed by friends and I just break out laughing. Like, it doesn't feel rage inducing when your friends drop bombs on you. It's hilarious. I mean, the physics are good. You blow off limbs. It's just fun. It's good fun with your friends. If you've got 3 other friends who you normally game with, add this to your list. Yeah, that's it. Appreciate you sticking with me. This is a little bit longer one. I know there's a ton of Helldivers 2 content out there. I cannot even go to a website without seeing something related to Helldivers 2. So if you watch this video and you made it this far and you think it's good content, you're obviously here for a reason. So thank you very much. I would appreciate a like. I would appreciate a subscribe even more. And leave me a comment if you feel so inclined. Thanks again for watching. Have a great rest of your day.
Alright, I got 30 seconds.
You're standing on it, you mad lad.
48 seconds on my orbitals.
Oh, you did it! You did it to us! You did it to us!
What happened?
He did it!
I took a mortar up the ass.
Yeah, you were standing on my mortars.